Thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to clean up this hose mess by installing a retractable hose reel to this brick wall. There's a couple of things to consider before tackling this DIY project. One, how to drill into bricks, and two, what's the perfect height and position for your retractable hose reel. Let's get into it. I've removed this retractable hose reel from where it was in a really odd place, and we're going to install it here in a better location and near this tap. Now the height is a personal preference. It's only a guideline, but some manufacturers say to install it at about waist height or between 800 millimeters to a metre from the ground. You can try and get the opening in line with your hand or where it's comfortable for you. It doesn't really matter. But more importantly, installed at a height and in a location where it's clear of anything that it might hit when it swivels. This is the mounting bracket that we need to attach to the wall. This particular brand, Pope, it actually has little locating pins as well as 3 bolts that we're going to need to anchor to the wall. Before we start marking our bricks, I want to figure out kind of what height this needs to be at. So it's going to be sitting like that. We can see this top hole is about in line with the opening of our hose reel. Whatever height we want the opening, that's where my top hole needs to be marked. Let's do a little trial fit and see what looks good. So about here was where I decided would look good, and that's 800 millimeters to the top hole, which is about 800 millimeters to the retractable hose reel opening where the hose comes out. Before I start drilling, I want to mark these holes on the bricks, but I want to make sure that none of the holes that we're drilling are going to be into the mortar. The mortar's too soft, it won't hold. It's softer than the brick. If we drill and attach our bolts and our wall plugs to the mortar, we run the risk of this whole hose bracket falling off. Okay, we're going to need to be about there, so each of these holes is going to be into brick. So I'll mark those there. And I need to find out the distance between those two. Those are going to be drilled first. So that is 84 millimeters. So now we've got our height for these two holes. We need to find the measurement apart. I'm just going to use that center hole there. Come down, that's roughly center. And 84 millimeters, so we'll go 42 each side. The easiest way to get this wall bracket looking good and functioning properly is to have all your bolts or all your fasteners level. So before we do these 2 locating pins, make sure that where you're going to be drilling is dead level. If the hose reel is twisted or tilted at all, it's always going to hang one way or the other. So the locating pins for this bracket we've marked onto the wall. They are 7 millimeters in diameter. I've got an 8 millimeter drill bit, so I'm going to start by drilling 2 8 millimeter holes just there. I'm using a rotary hammer drill to drill out the holes for these locating pins. If you're drilling into brick or concrete, make sure that your drill is on the hammer function and that you're using a masonry drill bit. A regular drill bit won't work for this job. Now with our bracket sitting there, check that we're still level. There. And with a marker, mark the next holes to drill, which are these, for us, the remaining 3 holes. I'm going to be drilling these with an 8 millimeter masonry drill bit, which is the right size for the wall plugs. These are the masonry wall plugs or wall anchors that we've chosen to use. When you buy them, on the packet it'll tell you the drill bit size that you need to suit the wall plug and then what size screw you're going to need. Sometimes when you're drilling out holes into your bricks for your bracket, they're not perfect. They don't line up exactly where the bracket holes are. So rather than putting one screw in and tightening it up, then realizing that hole number 2 and 3 don't line up, start all your screws just a little bit. Make sure they're all in there and going to find the wall anchor, and then we can tighten it up from there. I'm cheating a little bit by using a drill. If you are going to use a drill, don't over tighten it. That only needs to fit snug and not be wobbling, but bear in mind that's just a plastic bracket. So we were pretty close to the recommended height. That's 860 millimeters, nearly 900 millimeters, 3 foot to the opening of the garden hose. But do you know what, to be honest, it's still a bit low for me, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna bend down and turn off the tap anyway. So as long as it's in a position where it's at a good height, it's not gonna hit anything as it swivels around, then I think we've done well. It's a lot tidier than having that hose coiled up on the ground. Even if you have one of these garden sprayer things that stops the flow of water, turn it off at the tap, and without the pressure, your hose is going to last a lot longer. And if anything does go wrong and your hose bursts, you're not going to flood the place and waste water. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, join me for more tutorial videos. Click the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. And I'll see you in the next video. Even if you have a water knot, what's this thing called? Water knot